Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of a knife that I've had in my collection for a little bit, and you know, I did a little cool mod to it. I think it looks really cool. I wanted to kind of review it. I think I'm going to do a catch and release on this, only because I don't carry it. But let's dig into this. It's a Sharp by Design knife. It's the Apex. All right, so we have the Sharp by Design Apex. This is a cool knife, and this particular version is the Damasteel version. It is the Tanto with a hollow grind, dual grind, big, beautiful thumb hole, fuller hole, whatever you want to call it. To me, it looks like a fuller hole, not necessarily just a thumb hole, right? But that's for beautiful reverse flicking right here, and it is a front flipper as well, or top flipper, so you can absolutely do that. You can do that with left hand, you know, with your fingers like that, and then left hand, it's nice, beautiful reverse flicking. So the designer is Brian Nadeau. Sharp by Design is his company. This is made by Riot, and it is kind of a premium kind of knife. This was not a cheap knife, right? This is, you're looking at a $500-600 knife here with the Damasteel. This was originally blue inlay scales. I know there's people who make scales that you could put in there for them, and if you wanted to look around, which is kind of cool. But these inlays, I wasn't a big fan of the blue. I felt like it distracted from the beautiful Damascus steel or Damasteel here that we have, which is a proprietary steel. And then the clip was also known to be very edgy and very sharp, and it would dig into people, and a lot of people had issues with that, and so I get that. That's kind of a bummer. So the first thing I did is I took the clip off and I buffed that out with my Dremel, made it nice and soft, beautiful, smooth there. So that's really, really nice. It's no longer sharp, which is, you know, one of the things that he's always had a little challenge with Riot to do. Second of all, it is a bolstered frame lock, which is really cool, and he does do the nub detent, which is a very proprietary. Well, it was a thing that was unique with Brian. Other people have kind of copied it now. The Damasteel is a beautiful. I love this pattern. I think it's very, very gorgeous, and I think it complements the blade. Now, what I did is I took these inlays. They actually, when you take the knife apart, they unscrew, and I polished these, and I took off the blue anodization they put on the aluminum inlays, and these are aluminum, and now this is sort of the aluminum that's left over. It's polished. It's a little rough, but it's not, you know, could it be polished more? Sure. Could it be high polished? Sure. But right now I love the texture that's on here. It kind of complements the Damasteel. I think it kind of highlights the Damasteel and its beauty, so I think that is pretty gorgeous. The action is wonderful. I did put Skiff Caged Bearings in there, so the action is beautiful. It has a beautiful swedge on top. The materials are phenomenal. I mean, titanium with aluminum inlays, titanium clip, which is single screw. It's a right-hand tip up only, beautifully rounded up there, nice contoured shape everywhere. All the little details, there's no sharpness anywhere. You grip down, it's really comfortable. Once you take care of that edge, it is not uncomfortable. It doesn't burn anymore. It doesn't dig into your hand. It's super, super comfortable. Could you choke up? Probably. I've got large hands. We'll talk about weights and measurements here in just a second, but I got a pretty good grip. I think an extra large hand could get in there. I got big, giant, meaty fingers, so, you know, if you have an extra large hand with regular size fingers, it's about your grip. If you have a double extra large hand with smaller fingers, it's about your grip, so it's nice. The jimping is very functional on top. It does work. And if you don't know, Damasteel it's a form of Damascus steel. It's made by a particular company that makes RWL 34 and other steels like that. So really, really fantastic. It has the properties almost of 154 cm in the regard of it's pretty well corrosion resistant. Not perfect, but it is. It retains its edge pretty well, and it's a very usable steel. It's not like some of the other Damascus steels that are kind of cheap and cheesy and they're just for looks. This is very usable, very functional, so I like that. It does have a beautiful edge on here, beautiful tip, nice thickness to it. It's not a super thin blade, so it's very useful, and this hollow grind makes it super, super slicey. Really, really fun to cut with, so that's nice. And like I said, the detent, the nub detent, has that beautiful, that nice click. You almost hear a double click. I don't know if you can hear it. Let's see if we get it. Sorry, I'm trying to be quiet in my deployment and not be super loud, so you can hear it. There's like a double click right there. Do you hear that? And I don't know if you can hear it, but I think it's pretty cool. And then, so the way he does it too, this insert, steel bar insert, sticks up a little bit, and so he has a little weight relief cut here, but this sticks up, so it's really easy to get to. And when you catch it right there, you catch it right at the choil. And so usually I'm pretty good. I'm not going to have a guillotine on my finger and my nail. So if I do the drop high up here like this, like up here, then usually I'm pretty good. It's not going to get me, right? So that's kind of nice to get it up here. Just clear it right there, and then you're pretty good. yeah, I was really excited to get this, and I thought this extra work took me about 6 hours, but it's a labor of love, and I really really like it. A lot of people asked, "Hey, I'd love to buy that one," and I think it's going to go up for sale for sure. So I think so, and I think some of the people who've been interested in it, I think I will do a sale on it. I actually showed this to Brian Nadeau at Blade Show Atlanta, and I said, I know this is not the level of your work. Your work is far better. But this is kind of my homage to you because I believe this is sort of something that I think aesthetically you might like, you might do, and I think it complements the Damascus steel on this knife. I mean, though it's a production knife, but I think if you did it manually, you would have done something differently. So there you go. He smiled. He liked it. He thought it was he thought it was cool. It's like, hey, once you buy the knife, people do what they do, right? And he didn't hate it, so. I mean, to me, getting a nod from him, that's more than I could ask. So I was very appreciative. But I do like his designs. I like his stuff. I have an Evo Typhoon, which is my favorite design of all of his, and that one will stay in my collection for sure. And I do carry that one regularly. So that's the thing. I don't carry this one. I carry the other one. I love this. It was fun to do. I just don't carry it. So it's got to be a catch and release. Beautiful knife, especially with the skiffs in there. Really fantastic. Action is wonderful. You can tighten it up if you don't like that. It's almost guillotine. It's sort of between guillotine and drop shot, right? Control drop shot. It's not quite like a Grimsmo knife where it's like that's absolutely guillotine. So there you go. All right, so that's the materials. That's the opening and closing. It's really nice. It's easy to reverse flick over here. I think it's really nice as far as that. It's easy to top flip with the finger. I have shorter fingers, so it's hard for me to do the reach around. I know some people can do that. It's a little awkward for me with my shorter fingers, so there you go. Let's go ahead and do some measurements on this. See how much this guy weighs. It's not super heavy, but it's not super light. So we're looking at 4 ounces on this knife. So it's a 4-ounce knife. Overall lengthwise, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Overall length we're dealing with here from the, let's move this all the way up there. So we're looking at overall length of the blade is right at exactly 8 inches, right? I go to the tip, yeah, exactly at 8 inches. Look at the grip, we have 4 inches of handle. You could choke up for maybe 4 1/3 of an inch. The overall blade length from the tip to the back right here is just a little over 3.5 inches. So it's like 3 and I would say 9/16 or something like that. So overall cutting length, if we look at that, is right at exactly 3.5 inches. So, a fairly full-size knife. Now the blade stock thickness is not super thin, but that's a big chunk of Damascus steel. I mean, Damasteel there. So let's see what we're looking at. We're looking at 160 thousandths of an inch. Yeah, typically you get 120 thousandths of an inch. That is not a super thin knife. The ratio is 4 inches to 3.5. It's close. It's close. I mean, let's see the balance. Yeah, it's pretty much there. You'll feel pretty balanced holding it there. So that is nice, I think, in that regard. I think you'll definitely enjoy that. So very cool. Yeah, I like that. All right, so that's our measurements. What is the category for this knife? Well, this is the very high end of higher end. This was like $565 or something like that when it was listed. You might have gotten a sale on this if they weren't selling perfectly great, so they did have a little sale on them here and there. But we're still well into the higher end range. You're still 450, 500 range, I think. And then if you consider this a value, this extra modding work, which to me it is. I feel like 6 hours worth of work. I think it's beautiful. I think it complements it. But I may be the only one who thinks that, even though several people actually have offered to buy it from me. We'll see if it's still a value when I put this up for sale. But yeah, very cool little design and aesthetic. I think it's kind of neat. That is the high end of this knife. So definitely in the high end. EDC hard use collection piece. Any Sharp by Design can probably be a collection piece. People love to collect them for sure. The Damasteel makes it even more of a collection piece. Now, when you do something like this, probably even more of a collection piece. You could buy inlays, fat carbon inlays that some people make. I forget who it is, but you could even make that even more of a collection piece in that regard. So that's definitely possible. But you can also make this EDC and hard use. I think it works really well. It's a solid knife. It's good for work. It works really nicely. It's comfortable. For some people, this would be in their realm. If, they buy $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 knives, and so this is a typical just carry knife. So I think it could be very much that. Overall design, how do I like it? I think after I addressed the clip issue, and that was pretty predominant, that was pretty sharp. And once I did that, comfort-wise, it was very comfortable. It became really nice for the grip, the texture, everything, opening and closing was really, really nice. Now, aesthetically wise, I didn't care for the blue. And I think once I polished that aluminum to the plain aluminum, I think it looked a whole lot better. I think it really brings the knife, the beauty, the design that Brian originally put into this out wonderfully. By the way, it's dead nut center, beautifully in there, no blade play, it's in there nice and solid. We got no pivot lash. Let's listen to that detent. Nice and clickety, one more time. Nice and clickety. So there we go. Beautiful, beautiful in that regard. So I do like that. Overall feel, opening and closing is just really nice. It deploys well reverse wise and this way. And then the top flipping is just, it's very comfortable. And this is not overly aggressively sharp where it's uncomfortable. So I do like that a lot. The reverse flick is just really satisfying. It has that little double click you get from the nub detent. I just love that. Love, love, love that. So what do I think overall feel? Its opening closing is great. I like it. I like it a lot. There's a lot of positives with this. Now, you have to address a few things. So that's, you know, take it for that. If you get one of these, are you willing to do some of those? I definitely recommend fixing the clip. That's going to be a bothersome. A lot of times clips like that can be a deal breakers for a lot of people. And there are ways to fix that if you're willing to do that. With a Dremel, you have a work sharp Ken Onion, like a belt sander, you could take the clip off and run that gently. It is worth considering, right? Or a little piece of sandpaper with high grit, and then maybe some Flitz polish. You could really get it nice and polished. So that's some possibilities. Fidget factor, reverse flicking, front flicking like this. You've got the top flicking as well. That gives it to me a solid 4. It's a solid 4. Now, because it does it so well, reverse flicking here, and the top flipping is so nice and it's very comfortable, I'm actually gonna bump it up to 4.5, round it to a 5. So it's a 4.5. Really, 4.5 really, but it's a rounded 5. So I'm going to give this a 5 for the fidget factor. I like it. Now, how does it work? It works really well. I mean, this all works so nicely and comfortably. So I'm going to give it a 98. I don't know why I won't give it 100. I don't know. I just it just doesn't scream 100 yet to me, but it sure is darn close. It's an A+. It's 98. And when I do that reverse flicking, it makes me want to go to 100. I just love that. It's just nice and crisp and poppy there. Oh, one of my favorite reverse flick feel right there is that. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll give it 100. Why not? What the heck? This is really nice. So is it recommended? Yeah, it's absolutely recommended. Now, a little asterisk there. It's recommended once you fix the clip. That's the ergonomic wise. Then it's absolutely recommended. Put skiffs in. I think it's really nice. You don't have to, but definitely need to fix the clip. Second of all, it's even more recommended if you change your inlays. These inlays, the blue and the red were something to be desired. They were it was so plain, it was so boring. It didn't have a whole bunch of variation. It was very disappointing, at least as far as I'm concerned. So that's my perspective on that. People may disagree or agree to disagree, but the sales seem to say that as well. And I really think if this clip issue was addressed and there was some more options for the inlays, I think this knife would have done. It would have sold out immediately, like the Evo Typhoon or the Mini Typhoon, all his other knives that sell out like crazy. I think this one would have done the same thing. I really, really, really do. I think it was just a couple of ergonomic misses, and I don't know if, from what I gather, Brian's real clear in his directions and his schematics and everything. I don't know if Riot just missed it on their execution in a large scale, because he does order a large number of knives, and so if it's not right when they come out, you know, it's not right for a lot of knives. And so unfortunately that clip thing being high up here, it's really important that edge is taken care of. Whereas if you had the clip further down, it's not as critical as it is up here, because up there, that really digs into a very kind of middle of your hand and it's very uncomfortable. So that being said, I'm highly recommending it as long as you're willing to address the clip issue. And you know, maybe if you didn't like the blue, if you like the blue and the red, you're great. Fine, fantastic. So highly recommend, it's very recommended. I don't know, very recommended knife. So I'm going to put it into my recommended knives. But the asterisk is, you know, if you like this version, you definitely want to, you know, do a little work on the scales, which is easy to do, and you want to fix the clip. Once you fix that, I think you'll enjoy it. Some people will have this knife and they've sold it and been a catch and release because that clip just was too uncomfortable. It is very possible to fix that. You just got to take it off. You got to just sand that down. It's very easy and it really is worthwhile. All right, so that's my overall thoughts. So let's go ahead and take a quick gander, a quick look in. Let's zoom in on that beautiful Damasteel, which is just a beautiful etching and design. You can see that's all the way up in the top, all the way through. So very, very gorgeous. Then we've got the handle, and this is the The scales that I took out and I polished, I did a lot of sanding on that, a lot of work. Is it perfect? No, but the Damascus steel, the Damasteel here, just has that beautiful wavy imperfect pattern, but it's very, very artistic, and I feel like this complements that. This doesn't take away from that. If anything, it draws you over to that, especially when you, here, I'll show you, when you close it and you see it inside of there. Can you see that? I think you're still drawn to the Damasteel more than you are to the inlays, but the inlays, like the big blue color, just totally distracted you. It was like someone dropped a bucket of ugly paint in the middle of something, right? No offense, I like his blue on a lot of other things, but on this one, it didn't translate into the aesthetics that I would like to have seen it translate, at least for me, right? The clip, again, nice and polished here, so that edge is around. You can see it's not sharp anymore, and that makes a huge, huge difference. Again, another inlay that was polished. It's nice, and you can see this little weight relief in the lock bar, and then here you have the nub detent that goes in there, and that's the little lock bar over travel stop where the nub is attached, and it engages the tang of the blade. And then beautiful, I love his little pivot collars and pivot screws. They're just really nice. And here's the back of the Damasteel. You can see that beautiful hollow grind, tanto blade, flat dual compound grind, flat up here, hollow down here. And here's the nice jimping up on top with the big fuller. To me, this is a fuller. I know some people are gonna call it a thumb hole, but it's too long. It's like a big fuller hole, right? Maybe call it a thumb hole, but to me, it's like a fuller. All right, so that's that. Let's zoom back out and let's go ahead and get a nice picture for our little video. You know, we want to get something here that kind of show the highlight the knife. So this is it overall right here on one side. I like this. I like this a lot. I'm very proud of it. I just don't collect knives to keep in my collection for collection purposes. All my knives, if I don't carry them, it's a catch and release. And I've done that because I'm trying to do a channel and review as many knives as I can and have certain pieces that'll always be collection pieces because they're really special, meaningful. Not saying that this isn't meaningful, but it's just, there's some knives that are just next level, right? You know, at least until it gets replaced, but there's a few knives that will probably never be replaced in my collection, but this is not one of those. It doesn't have that same meaning to me, but it's still, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a great knife. So there you go. That is the knife. Let me know your thoughts on this if you have it, and if you did anything to mod yours. Love to hear if you got some of those fat carbon scales that you can order. Love to hear that as well. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button down below? Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows the channel to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who watches the videos, who likes the videos, who enjoys the content. I appreciate you guys, especially if you watch, content, comment, all that stuff. Thank you. Thank you. If you haven't already, maybe hit that notification button down below so you can be notified of future content like this video. Also, to all my channel members, a big, huge thank you. I appreciate you. You guys really allow me to do a lot of things way sooner, way earlier than I ever thought I'd be able to do. And I appreciate you partnering up with the channel and being part of it and encouraging me sometimes when it's tough. I work full time. This is a part-time thing here for me, and I enjoy this, and I enjoy the knife community. But if it weren't for you channel members, sometimes I don't know if I'd keep going, right? So I appreciate you guys so very much. And it's a small way for me to say thank you for your generous memberships. I do a once-a-month membership giveaway. Or membership knife giveaway for the members, exclusively for the members, and it's a nicer knife. It's not just a little budget knife, just so you know. And I want to make sure you guys know that something really cool for you guys to have and get a chance to win. And so, if that interests you as someone who said I'd like to be part of the, a channel member and support the channel, I like that giveaway too. There's a link down below in the description for 3 different tiers. I'd love to have you. Don't ever feel obligated, but be honored if you did become a member. Also, as a way for me to say thank you to every brand new channel member, I would love for you to email me with your name and address so I can mail you a channel sticker. It's my small way to say thank you. Thank you for becoming a channel member. If you were a channel member before and became a channel member again and are a channel member right now, or if you've been a channel member all along and you're a channel member right now and both of you have never asked me for a channel member sticker, but you would like one finally, email me as well. I'd love to mail you a sticker as well. So yeah, thank you to everyone out there, channel members and subscribers and everyone who watches the content. I appreciate you all so very much. If you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.